We are back for Patreon exclusive bonus content.
Fancy.
What's going to happen? Headphones are off.
Whoa.
That's how you know it's going to be good.
I took mine off 30 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't give me any.
We need, tell your friends to Patreon us so that I could buy headphones for my guests.
I have that problem too on my podcast.
So we chatted on the main episode about taking things, and I think it turned into just having fun with things. Don't take everything so seriously. It's not, nothing's really that important. Just have fun and make things happen. What do we give for people who want to go deeper into it, and maybe just like, what is that thing of like the day to day? And I know you said you kind of just like when you're feeling that burnout or something, or feeling this, you just think back to that, just like have fun. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Be better than the gondola. It'll be all right. Let's dig into that a little bit more of just maybe like, again, maybe it's the balance thing. I think people are hustling too hard. They're trying too hard. They're so serious about it. I'm not sure what the specific question is, but that's okay because we're in the bonus content. So just thoughts on that, wherever your brain goes on that. You don't have to address a specific question.
Yeah, I have a couple, like my next show is, what is today, Monday? I don't have a show till Friday now. And I sometimes struggle when I have too many days off, and I'm like, it's like you said, I got to start hustling. I got to start emailing and whatnot. And really it's just, once again, going back to the Zen thing of you're exactly where you need to be. And that doesn't mean, following up with some things or pursuing other things, but, something I've had to learn of just to really cool my jets and calm my anxiety. Cause the second it's funny, like if you're working like crazy, you're like, oh, all I want is a break. And then when the second that work stops, you're like, all I want to do is work. Yeah. And so it's just finding that middle ground of when it slows down a little bit, being okay with it and knowing, well, that this is where I'm supposed to be right now, and existing in that plane, I guess. Yeah,
cool. I think, there's a very grass is always greener moment in all of these things, and it doesn't take long to go. So if there's anything, like, know that the only thing that you are striving for, wanting right now, like as soon as you have that, you're gonna like either want what you had before or want something different. So there's something in that of like, I like to do the theme of like, there's no golden ticket of like, people say, oh, the golden ticket to this, like, this is if I get on this TV show, or if I get this gig, or if I get this thing, and then it happens, and then you're just like
back to doing the same gigs.
Or like sometimes it's like, or I just can't wait for this gig to be over. And then you're like nervous, you ruin the whole week leading up to it and the gig, and then it finishes and you're like, I thought I was going to feel relieved after it's over. Now I just feel kind of the same, except I'm exhausted because my week leading up to this was like tiring.
Yeah, that's kind of every strolling gig I've ever done, like private events. That's the sad part is I'm pretty good at it. And I don't say that like for an ego. Like I get referrals and people have a fun time, but I just get so burnt out and I get so nervous because you're so one-on-one with people. And if something goes wrong, or like I don't know, I'm introverted, so it's hard to interact one-on-one with people for me. So yeah, if I have a gig, on the weekend, and it's one of those, I'm nervous the whole week, and then you're done. You're like, oh, I guess I don't feel as good as I mean, I'm happy it's done, but you just kind of learn, oh, maybe I shouldn't say yes to those type of gigs because that's not what I'm having fun with. I did a gig back, I used to live in Orlando, and I went back recently for a friend's wedding, and we all did a show together and saw a bunch of people that we haven't seen in a while. They're magicians and people that were kind of fans of my buddy and fans of us, and we've always been very supportive of us. And it's funny, they're in the spot where I was 3 years ago of seeing people do stuff from a distance, in this case LA, be like, wow, you're killing it, man, you're doing this, you're doing that, and I'm like, I barely paid my rent this month. Right. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of fun things, but so it's all perspective, and it's funny how distance makes things more impressive, and you just it's interesting being on the other side of things now, and especially in LA, you'd see people get stuff and you're like, man, how would they get that? And then you get something similar, and the next day you're doing the same gigs. You're doing your life hasn't changed. Yeah. And that's kind of a good thing. I think we are past the age of you go on Johnny Carson and you get picked up by some crazy talent agent, your life changes forever. I think that's kind of a good thing, because that removes the ego from the whole thing.
It goes back to what you were talking about earlier in the main episode of sending the thing to the entertainment director month after month and years after years of like we're not living in that thing of like the overnight success anymore. Like now there's a much better thing of, oh, you do this and you do that. It's a collective thing. Like it's a 10-year thing or 5-year or 6 months or whatever it is.
5 years to start working at the Magic Castle. 4 years of emailing, and then once I moved here, I just started to get to know the entertainment director. And, for anybody who's like, man, he's working the castle a lot. It's like, well, I work a couple times a year, which is great. And I'm very lucky to do that. But also I remember how much work I put into to get that. It's not like I waited for that to happen. That's one of the few, that Disney and maybe like one other gig I do pat myself on the back for, because I put so much time and effort into it. Because that's all I just focused on those and zoned in, for better or for worse. And it's not an ego thing. It's not a bragging thing. It's if I'm having a tough day, I can look back and go, okay, I've accomplished these things great. And it doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't, because it doesn't lead to other gigs in many cases.
Yeah.
Every once in a while at the castle, somebody will call you, but after seeing your show, but it's more so just like a personal achievement thing of like, okay, these are the goals I set and they happened. Cool.
Yeah. So and that's tying that back into a little thought for people is like, social media and stuff that now we are comparing these things. And I've had so many days where I'm like that. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know how I'm going to survive.
Yeah.
And then I'll like the same day I'll get like an email or something, or like a comment on an Instagram post or something, be like, oh, like so proud of you. You're like doing it. Like we're all watching you from back at home, or like family or something, or like or I'll get like questions from people that are like, hey, like I'm working on this new thing and I just don't like, and they're like, oh, the people think I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because I've just done the thing. I keep trying things, but like also like I'm looking at other people being like, I don't know what I'm doing. But other people, I think the point of that all is like wherever you are, someone is seeing you as the ideal spot where they want to be. Like no matter where you are. Like totally. I'm like, oh, I wish I had a bigger apartment. And then like there's somebody outside. I saw somebody yesterday looking through like the clothing donation thing for an outfit, and I was just like, it was like crushing, because I like complained that my 1-bedroom apartment in Studio City isn't big enough.
Yeah.
So it's like, especially in a place like LA where you see a mansion.
Yeah,
and we
totally.
see that, but we kind of overlook what we have. Like if we have like shoes. And
I think it's I want to say American culture, but I think it's just a Western culture thing of, always looking, the grass is always greener, honestly, is just the simplest way to put it. But going back to people commenting and people really watching your stuff on social media from back home, I didn't really realize how much of an influence it was until I was going to be home for Christmas this past Christmas, and I have a friend who runs a sketch and improv theater, and I said, hey, I'll do a show there. We can sell tickets, and I'll take a cut of the tickets. It'll be fun for anybody local who wants to see. It sold out in 2 hours. It was only 100 seats, but I was like, oh, people are paying attention to what I'm doing. And like that just thought had never crossed my mind. Like I know if I do a comedy club in any other state, not going to sell out, but because it was my hometown and you have people that you grew up with, I did the show. It was not a very fun show for me because I was doing a show for an audience full of people I'd grown up with and known really well, mentors or people I went to school with them. And it was a weird show, but I was very humbled to know that people supported me that way.
Yeah.
So it's a weird, you can't think about it too much, but it's a weird burden at sometimes. And burden's not the right word, but weird thought to have in your head.
More like a responsibility. I think maybe is a more useful way of looking at it. Like, hey, people are watching.
And
people are looking up to you. Like, whoever you are, somebody is looking up to you.
And that's why it's so hard to. I've had many days where I'm like, I think I'm done with this. Or I think at least done doing it full time. Like I'll still do the booby traps and I'll still do the fun shows, but maybe I should do something else. And that's still a very real thought. But I remember, just people like that, and it's a weird thing because you don't want to do things for other people. You don't. And I learned that going from high school theater to college, where you have like all these stage parents who are like, "You're awesome, you're the best actor, you're amazing," and then I got to Chicago and like nobody cares about you.
Yeah.
And it was such a great wake up call, and I couldn't get into any plays at my college or book anything, and it was a very good wake up call, and it was a good lesson to not do things for other people, even though these people are supporting you back home.
Yeah.
You have to be doing it for yourself, and remember why you're doing it, because doing it to impress people it's not healthy.
Yeah. All right, there's our good. I think we did a good wrap up here on the bonus section. So for people on the Patreon, thanks for doing that and listening. And do you have any tie it up? We did like 3 tie-ups now, but you're good. If you're good, we'll call that.
I've given out enough nonsense.
We'll call that a wrap. And listen to that. There's so many good things in there from people who are actually making things happen. And I think that's for this section is like the grass is always greener. I'm looking at behind the cameras right over there. There's 2 Guinness World Records on the wall. There's my door hanger from this room is reserved for Chris Ruggiero from the Late Late Show.
That's
James
cool.
Corden. I was looking at my Facebook today, and there was like a photo of me on Ellen, a photo of me on Martha Stewart, a photo of me on James Corden, like all these things, and I'm like sitting here being like, what am I do? Am I like same thing? Like I don't know what to do. And there's somebody else is like, what do you mean? You did it. You have everything that we all want is like the credentials and all these things.
Well, it goes back to, I love that. I mean, I kind of point my finger at it because I'm like, this is ridiculous. But I love the Jim Carrey quote of, I wish everybody could be rich and famous for a day to see that it's not all that great.
Yeah.
But I mean, still, it's easy to say that when you have that success. So it's like, I always kind of go back and forth with that of, yeah. And I don't know. I agree with that 100%. And also there's another part of me that's like, you understand why people want that success because that's what's driving you. That's the only reason we're doing this is so we can look at the things on our wall and go, I'm proud of that. I worked really hard. I didn't waste
There's the thing
my time.
of go after those goals, but realize that then there's going to be something else after it. There is no moment where you made it. There's always another horizon
It doesn't achieve happiness. If you're doing that to achieve happiness, that's the mistake. And I think we all, even if you haven't learned that, it's kind of obvious to me is like knowing that love and respect from strangers isn't true happiness.
Yeah.
It's just fulfilling some void. I don't know.
All right, well that's good. So I think here our final wrap up is we tied it all together. It's about the journey. There is no destination. You're never gonna make it. You're gonna get on a TV show. You're gonna have your own TV show, or you're gonna host your own TV show, and then you're gonna be like, oh, now I just have like a lot of work to do and more responsibilities, and you're probably going to be equally, then you're going to do something else after that. So like there's never you're never at the top of the mountain. From there you go to the next one and new horizons, all that stuff that we've heard before in motivational things like the journey, not the destination, is true. But from people who are the best in the world.
I will say it's easier to be less happy when you have money. Like it's easier. It's how am I phrasing it? When you have money, being poor and being bummed about not having work is one thing and feels really crappy. But it feels less crappy when you have some money and are bummed that work's not coming.
Right. So get there and then you can be unhappy.
My favorite,
but don't be happy. Don't be unhappy because you're not like get there and earn that unhappiness.
Yeah, I'm gonna butcher the line, but my buddy, great magician David Kovac says the best things in life are free. Crap! I'm gonna butcher it. It's something in life, or the joke is, but they're expensive.
Right?
Something happy, and it's such a great line. I'm messing it up, so just cut this out. Don't even put it in there.
All right, that's it. We're wrapping it up. Goodbye.
Bye.